Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the least professional show on YouTube. I really like our Please Wait music. It's quite good, right? Like when I'm getting ready, I'm just like,
yeah. I'm like,
this is
I'm
not
like
bad.
kind of
Yeah.
nodding my head.
Yeah. You guys want to know a cool trick? I probably shouldn't reveal this. I have like a little white piece of plastic underneath my collar. I bought this on Amazon. I didn't even know they made these things. But when I was doing my show, I noticed that these flaps were slowly like becoming like sort of like this over time. So I got one of these things.
Oh, you got to send me the link.
Yeah, it's good, right?
Yeah,
it's good. So it kind of keeps it popped up. I was like, somebody has to have invented that, right? Like that's got to be a thing. So I looked it up. Somebody had invented it. It was a thing. And now we're here. All right, so we got some interesting news going on. As Jason says, Trump is supposed to speak today, which should be amazing. We may end up having to come back onto the live stream afterwards if Trump speaks. We might have to shut it down and get back on because that's how we go. Yeah, like. People are talking about in the chat how it's being reported that Biden may step down. We're going to get that to at the end of the show. And in fact, Joe Scarborough has said something. Robert McMaster says, "Hello, Mr. Reagan." Hello, Robert McMasters. Joe Scarborough has said something that has actually confirmed a theory of mine for a long, long time. I've had this theory for a long time. It's the only reason why it's the main reason why I have believed that Joe Biden has not stepped out of the race so far. It's a kind of a conspiracy theory type of a thing, but I think it is true, and I think it's rational, and I think it's reasonable, and we're going to get to that at the end of the show. First, Jason, do you have any personal news that you would like to discuss?
Not really. Same old.
Me neither. Let's get to the news then. What do we got as our first story? By the way, we didn't go over this, but I tried to tell you, but you didn't have your headphones plugged in earlier. I was trying to talk to him. No, his headphones plugged. I'm just going to use all of your stories in order. I think they were all good, and we're just going to go in the order that you posted them. So I'll just tell you what the first one is. What did I tell you what the first one is? We're going to do a fragile-looking Joe Biden slowly walks down the stairs of Air Force One following his COVID diagnosis. He also walked up the stairs rather gingerly and slowly, but this was pretty crazy. We don't really need the audio for this. Yeah, he kept like pausing and doing this thing where he was like pretending like he had reasons for stopping. But I think really it was like a stabilization type thing. Let me just make sure I'm not going to fall over. Look, I actually have some. What's that?
I was going to say, that's a good point you have. Maybe that's why he does those weird pauses. And
of course, that's what he was doing. Look.
Yeah.
And he's like looking around. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, hey, over there. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Let me try one more step. Well, maybe one more. All right. Now I got to stop again.
He's noticing the Death Reaper beyond.
Yeah. The Grim Reaper. He's looking at the Grim Reaper going,
yeah.
Oh, I know that guy. I've seen him before. Look, I actually have some sympathy for older people who, have stability issues and can't walk and that sort of thing. I don't really have sympathy for Joe Biden because he's a criminal. And he's
a bad person.
He's a bad person. Yeah, you got a lot of pretty good comments here, but yeah. So I've kind of been joking around on X. I'm like, okay, so guys, now that they failed to assassinate Donald Trump, might plan B to give Joe Biden quote unquote COVID, and suddenly he has to drop out of the race. Like, and I wrote something like, are there any toxins maybe that the symptoms of which might, I don't know, mimic COVID symptoms. Yeah, so the joke is I'm trying to insinuate that it's possible that the powers that be may have decided, taking out Trump didn't work. Maybe let's take out Joe Biden. So that was kind of a jokey theory that I had, but
I just think you know, it's funny because they're bringing back the whole COVID thing like as an excuse for it. Because remember, a few years ago they just used COVID as an excuse for everything. I mean, everybody was using COVID as even Hollywood for their failed stuff.
Yeah,
I just think they're bringing it back because I think they want to get him off the campaign. I think they want him to shut his mouth until they get rid of.
Well, hold on, Jason. We'll get to that at the end of the video. We'll get to the whole what's going on with Biden dropping out. You get into the good stuff a little bit too quick. You got to go through a lot of other news. That's where you interject. When I pause, you interject.
I was just about to.
We'll get this co-hosting thing down eventually, guys.
So the COVID thing is just an excuse. Shut him down.
I had
campaign.
I had posted about this. And somebody had suggested that if they were to take Biden out, let's call it, and they used some kind of a poison that mimicked the symptoms of COVID, they were like, oh, that actually benefit him twice. I was trying to find the X user, but I can't figure it out who it was. It would actually have two benefits. One, they would be able to get rid of Biden, and two, they could bring back the whole COVID scare. They could be like, oh, you know what killed him off was COVID. We got to all be afraid of COVID. Let's get to mail-in ballots again. Let's do mail-in voting.
True. But isn't it funny that he has COVID yet he's not wearing a mask? So everybody around him there now has COVID. So
oh, that's a good call. And he's done some public events. People have noted he's done public.
So it's an obvious lie. Like, I mean, they don't even care anymore.
It's been said there is some news we're not going to report this, so I might as well just like ad lib it here. But there was a little bit of news that Kamala Harris's advisors had actually gone to Biden's advisors and directly told them it's time for you to step down and make way for Kamala. Like if Biden leaves right now, Kamala Harris becomes the president, right? And what I thought was funny about that is like, there is no way, even if Joe Biden were to step down, he's not giving it to Kamala. Kamala can't win the next election. You know, Kamala was a diversity hire that was used to get votes in the last election. Nobody wants Kamala. Like even the people, well, we'll get to the asking Joe Biden to step down bit, but even the people that are saying publicly or through leaks or whatever that they want Joe Biden to step down, nobody wants Kamala. Her advisors are delusional to think that. All right, Little Rock has jumped in. Somebody by the name of Little Rock, who we've not had on the show before, I don't believe. So hello, Little Rock. Thank you for the $10. Says, post the link for the caller in the chat.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm an attorney and I use metal tabs to put the caller point, but I never saw those. Sorry, I'm a little behind. Yeah, no. I used to use the metal ones like here, like, you know, and there was like a magnet and you could actually do like this with the magnet, which was quite cool. But that was a little too buttoned up for me. So I got the little plastic thing. I only really use it for the show. I don't use it like out. I've never used it out, but I'm not a professional in any other capacity. Like I'm not a lawyer or something. So I wouldn't know how that would, but yeah, it would probably work in court. Yeah, you could do that. I don't even know if I have the link. I'm sure I do somewhere, but yeah, I'll try to grab it and post it in the comments section of the show after the show. I'm not going to put it in the chat here, but yeah, I'll go ahead and put that.
I think you have a new merch.
I know. I should do a Mr. Reagan.
Yep.
It's such a good product, right? I don't know why it's not a more popular thing.
It's a very conservative product too. You know, make you look nice and neat, and you know, very with your best shirt.
That is such a thing. That is such a thing. I've discussed. I had a whole video about this, about how the left wants you to be sick, sad, and miserable, or sick something. Like I had some kind of like I had like a 3 S's, I think, or something like that. But the left is all about wanting people to rely on the government. The government wants to be mommy, and they want you to rely on mommy, right? And when do you want your mom? When you're sick in bed, you want her to bring you, chicken soup, and that's what they want. They want you to be in a vulnerable position where you don't have confidence, and so you rely on them, right? Conservatives want you to be strong. They want you to have your own business. They want you to be rich. They want you to be self-reliant. They want smaller government, and they want you, the people, to be successful, to create products, to create services that will benefit the whole nation, right? So we rely on private industry, so we want to build you up. Democrats rely on government, so they want to tear you down, and that's always true. And so part of building you up will be to get you these beautiful little man, I should sell those because, man,
I
I'm
think
really
so.
pitching them.
No, I think so. I think
really
so.
pitching them. They need to give me a percentage.
I got to get a percentage. I got to get a percentage
Yeah.
because I gave you the idea.
Yeah, for sure. You gave me the idea. MMA Fix says Biden's staff is listening to Chris and taking notes. Yeah. They're going to get Biden one of these callers. Fernandez T says, only the woke blacks want Kamala there. In other words, no one serious. Well, what's funny is we've all noticed, I think, over the years, and by the way, I don't think we've seen Fernandez T in the chat before, or maybe we have. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, what's interesting about that is, like, first of all, Kamala's barely black, which I think is hilarious that she's gotten away with saying she's black over all these years, even though she's Indian, and she didn't really grow up in black culture at all, I don't think. She grew up in, she spent her high school years in Quebec, Canada. I don't think there's a whiter place on the planet. But anyway, Kamala Harris is not culturally black at all. The people, and what's weird is I don't even think woke, like, black people are that woke anymore. I mean, at least not black men, but black women are the problem. There's this weird thing about black women where they got this sort of like, I'm a queen. I'm a black queen. They got this whole idea like there's almost like a narcissism or an egotism to being a black woman nowadays. And I don't mean to say that because, like, oh, black women are terrible, like intrinsically bad or something. What I mean is this is like a cultural shift that has occurred in like the last 10 years or so, where I think what it used to be is like you would watch a movie where there was a black woman, like a sassy fat black woman, and she'd be like, oh, no, you didn't. And everybody laugh at that and think it was funny because this woman who obviously couldn't win a fight, obviously, was unintelligent, obviously didn't have anything, wasn't particularly beautiful, didn't have anything good going for her, had this massive amount of confidence and this massive ego. And that was funny, right? In a movie or a TV show, that was always funny. And then at some point, black women started doing that for real. They decided this is the way forward, right? You had your more sophisticated black women on television, like the mom from the Cosby Show or whatever. You had your more sophisticated black women, and then you had this sassy, kind of trashy black woman. And the sassy, trashy black woman became like sort of cultural standard. And that, I think, was a terrible thing. And I think they're all voting for Kamala, or they all like Kamala, but they're like the only ones. A Little Rock jump back in says, even if you sold them, they would need your name on them in some way. I would buy cufflinks with Mr. Reagan on them. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll look at that. That's kind of a cool idea. All right, what do we got for the? We kind of am getting into the final story here, which we shouldn't be doing, because I really want to save that to the end. But let's.
We have the former classmate of the shooter.
All right, so we got a little bit of news about the shooter here.
Former class. Yeah. You want me to read it?
Breitbart throws us the Heidi Klum seal picture.
That's yours. That doesn't pop up on mine.
Why? I don't understand that. It says sponsored stories from some, I don't know what. It's all my searches for Seal and Heidi Klum.
Hey, we know you're a Seal fan. So.
I'm a big Seal fan. It's a kiss on a grave by a rose or something, right? All right. Former classmates, the shooter was passionate about politics and insinuated he's stupid for supporting Trump. Now, this headline is really bad, Breitbart, because I didn't understand it. The shooter insinuated that the Mexican guy who's being interviewed in the article was stupid for supporting Trump. So
yes,
the headline is idiotic. I don't know who wrote this headline, but you're an idiot. Breitbart, you need to get whoever wrote that headline. I guess it was Christina Wong. Christina, what are you doing? I don't know. You're probably a great girl, but that headline's all Wong. Do you hear that? Go Wong. Go Wong, Jason.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
That's funny. I see you got me off track now with that.
Well, this guy's.
It's just clickbait. That's what it is. Clickbait. They want you to click on it and just read it.
Yeah. But it's a kind of a decent article, actually. It's just because we don't really know what his politics are. Oh, hey, there's a. I didn't even realize there was a video.
Thomas was a quiet kid unless there was something that he was passionate about. Politics being one of them. He just did not like politicians, especially with the choices that we've had. He did not like our politicians. It was especially during 2016. It was Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, all of them. He showed that he disliked all of them. Did not like any of them. So I brought up the fact that I'm Hispanic and, I'm for Trump. And he said, well, you're Hispanic, so shouldn't you hate Trump? And I was like, no, he's great. I mean, like, he's a great president. And he called me stupid or insinuated that I was stupid. He's like, well, that's kind of stupid. If he was a know-it-all. So, like, once again, if he was passionate about something, he would just talk, and acted like he knew everything, especially politics related. And
funny, I know somebody like that.
He would say it in a tone that was like, I'm better than you.
Talking about me?
Joking.
It's not funny. All right, so
of course,
he goes on to say, I believe, he goes on. I mean, if it's funny, I'll laugh. But come on, if you're gonna make an insulting joke to Mr. Reagan, at least be funny. No, look, he goes on to talk about. He goes on to talk about how this guy had like a friend group that he thought was kind of like the crazy shooter type. So maybe they influenced him. A lot of people think that this guy was somehow groomed, not in the sort of like groomer way, but groomed by the FBI or the CIA to become a shooter or something like that. That's one theory, kind of wild theory that's out there. Is it wild? Is it a wild theory? I don't know. Is it a rational theory? At this point, I think, theories that 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, we would have gone, oh, come on, be realistic. Now we're all kind of going, maybe that's true. So, I begrudge no one for any of their crazy conspiracy theories because anything's possible at this point. Anything's possible. We got a few more super chats that I'm going to look at here. Kenny Powers, who we've also never had in the chat, and he says, an inside source told me that Donald Trump will not be mentioning Biden in his speech at all tonight. His speech is going to be lights out awesome. Pray for Trump's safety. Yeah, I think he's pretty safe there at that.
If that's true, that's a great strategy. I think think that's a great thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. At this point, it's one of these things where it's like Trump is now like legendary status. Trump is no longer a former president, a future president, a candidate, a billionaire, a good father. He's not any of that stuff. He's all that stuff, of course, but he's now a legend. He's an American legend. And I know that probably Trump wanted that. I mean, it's funny because you have MSNBC and all these people. Did you hear Joy Reid? We should play the Joy Reid thing. I can't believe we don't have the Joy Reid thing because this pissed me off. I actually wanted to talk about this. I'll find it. But
I can.
You have all these people
because I commented.
Find the Joy Reid thing. I was going to repost it, but I didn't have time because I was preparing for this. But Joy, like a lot of people in the media are sort of like down. I almost made a video about this. I'm sad that I didn't last night, but a lot of people in the media are downplaying Trump's gunshot wound. They're saying like, oh, he got hit from shrapnel from the teleprompter, and the teleprompters are totally intact. You can see in the pictures. So that wasn't what happened. They're saying, well, maybe it was some shrapnel from something else or whatever. But they're just like, oh, no, this didn't. And some people are actually saying that, oh, I think maybe Trump staged his own assassination attempt to make himself look cool, you know, and all this. And they're really downplaying it. And I've just been listening to this garbage and I've been going, you know what? You know what? These people are desperate. These people are desperate because at this point, they know Trump's going to win. Do you have that video for us?
Just sent it. You should get it any second.
Cool. All right, let's go ahead and watch this. This is Joy Reid's take on the Donald Trump assassination. This is just disgusting, you guys. This is just sick. This woman should be ashamed of herself and disgusted when she looks in the mirror, because not only for being horrifically ugly and wearing a black Superman shirt. Oh God! I mean, the desperation. Like, just look at her. Just look at her. Anyway, all right, let's play this.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet, whether he was hit by glass fragments, whether he was hit by shrapnel. We don't have those details. We actually have no details from his physician, even though this man is still a Secret Service protected, and presidential candidate. We know almost nothing. Why? Why don't we know that much? We know that 3 people were shot. 1 person, unfortunately, was killed at the rally. We don't know where they were sitting or standing relative to him. We don't know why, for 9 full seconds, Donald Trump was allowed to stand back up during an active shooter situation, even though they, at that point, had said the shooter was down. How would they have known if there were more shooters or not? Nobody knew. That there could have been 5 shooters for all they knew. Yet they allowed him to stand up in the middle of that, crisis and pose for a photo.
Okay, so she continues.
That's what gets them. That's where they're really pissed off. The whole 9 seconds that he was able to do that they hate the fact that he got up, was like a man, and stood up there and did that. They hate that. And by the way, one last thing. I thought the MAGA people were the conspiracy theorists.
This is kind of ridiculous. Look, she's right in the sense that the Secret Service probably shouldn't have let him stand up like that. They should have kept him down and got him into the car.
How are you going to stop a 6'3" guy like that?
Well, if you have competent Secret Service agents, it would have been easy, I think. But they didn't bring those in. Look, Secret Service isn't competent. We all know that. We've been talking about that since the shooting. Joy Reid doesn't go on to conservative Twitter. She probably doesn't follow a single conservative on Twitter, or on X, I guess I should say. So she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. And she's sitting there developing her own conspiracy theories in her little bubble, right? Here's what she's doing. Here's what this degenerate piece of human filth is doing. She's sitting there trying to insinuate that Trump planned this himself, that this was all staged, that was all fake. She's trying to suggest that the bullet didn't come near Trump and that the blood was fake, or that the injury was fake or something like that. And she's trying to say that the people that were shot were nowhere near Trump, that the shooter didn't even come close to hitting Trump. She wants like specific details of Trump's injury. I'll give you the specific details, Joy Reid. He got shot in the ear. Okay, you don't need a ton of details. Even if you go to Snopes, which I cannot stand Snopes. Snopes fact checked me for calling AOC an actress. All right, because AOC isn't in Hollywood films. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor, Snopes.
Chris,
like
that means that means you've made it. Okay.
Exactly. If I say that she's a puppet, do you then fact check me because she's not made of felt and wood? Oh, she's not made of felt and wood. Therefore, this is a lie.
That's a good one.
I know. It's a dumbest.
They're probably going to do that soon.
They probably will. Yeah. Joe Biden is not a puppet. We've seen him in real life. He doesn't have strings or anything. But anyway, so I called her an actress, and they fact checked me on that, basically saying she's not acted in any theatrical performances. And I'm just like, oh, you guys, come on, get real here. So I don't think that highly of Snopes, but they're very, very left wing, and even Snopes, who's very left wing and lies about us, even they said you can actually see in the picture that Trump did get shot in the ear. Like if you get a really high res photo of Trump after the shooting, you can actually see part of his ear has been shot, and that's real blood and everything. But the leftists are going to be crazy. But I was watching that video and other videos like this, and seeing people like I don't know, all these the really crazy ones. Who is the guy on MSNBC that Rachel Maddow now tries to impersonate? Who goes on these crazy rants? You know who I'm talking about?
Oh,
Somebody in
yeah,
the chat will
I do.
know who I'm talking about.
I do.
It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Olbermann.
Olbermann.
Keith Olbermann, right?
He went on some kind of like nut job crackpot because of Van Jones. We'll get to the Van Jones thing later.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You need to fire Van Jones immediately." And I posted on X. I posted.
Might as well just show that one.
Go to that one.
Yeah.
Well, we should actually. I wish you. Sometimes you post stories, and I've posted about that story on X, and you should be sending me my own tweets instead of the other ones. But you
no, that is so
independently.
not.
What?
So you want to do this?
So
I
not
have the
what?
article. I have the article what Van Jones said. So it's Van.
No. You already sent it.
Yeah, no. I sent it. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah. We can jump into that. Yeah, here we can look at this. This is Van Jones here.
Chase is to Casey's point. Adam Schiff is significant. Senior Democrat in California, probably the next senator from California. So close to Pelosi, wouldn't do it without checking with her. What people are saying is they're just hoping the White House gets the message. If not, everyone's talking about next week. There'll be polling a few days after this convention. Everyone expects it'll be even worse for the president. Plus, there's the private internal polling. Everyone says, we hope the president makes his decision. Otherwise, look for early next week to be a tipping point.
Yeah. Look, there are a lot of people who want Biden to stay in. I want to just keep pointing out there's still grassroots love for Joe Biden. Everybody doesn't agree. But today is a terrible day. If you pull back and look at this thing, strength versus weakness, a bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus just stopped Biden. You've got the of this party getting their butts kissed. Biden's getting his butt kicked by his own party. The Democrats are coming apart. The Republicans are coming together. That's what's happening. And at some point, this party has to look at the reality of that. And
let me just say.
Yeah. I don't really like the characterization of butt kissing. I'm not sure that's the correct, but it was a nice sort of poetic way of pairing it with butt kicking, right? So that's why he said that. Hold on, we got a super chat real quick. MMA Fix jumps in. He says, "Well, here's some money, boys. I originally made a seal joke, but YouTube thinks his lyrics are too bad for me to type. One more point. Oops, I'm out of characters." I love you, man. Look, now I'm off track, but look, Van Jones has done something that I don't think CNN has done since the 1990s. He observed things accurately. He observed the situation accurately and reported the news correctly. Joe Biden is getting his butt kicked. We are coming together as conservatives. Not only are we coming together, we're bringing Democrats into our party. I mean, look at this Amber Rose situation, which, by the way, we should have done the Amber Rose thing. I don't know why we haven't talked about that. Do you know about the Amber Rose thing?
Yeah, I posted a whole thing on X about it. Let me pull it up.
Forgot to put it in the thing here. Okay. Well, so Amber Rose gave a magnificent speech. Yeah, it is upsetting because people like Matt Walsh. And Matt Walsh is an intelligent guy, and he made that great documentary, What is a Woman? And he's helped the party out a little bit, and he's helped shift the culture a little bit. But I think that in some ways, Matt Walsh sometimes does a little more harm than good, and I don't think he really understands why. Because he's a little bit of a narcissist, I think, and he thinks like it's his way or the highway. And people have been posting a lot of stuff about, his his comments in like his Twitter posts in like 2016, where he was like he was a never Trumper for a long time. I mean, so was JD Vance, who's now Trump's vice president. So I don't necessarily dismiss somebody because they were a never Trumper at some point. You know, I think that you can be redeemed from that because, like I said in the last show, you know, back in 2016, a lot of people that were like truly conservative did not think Trump was truly conservative. And even I had concerns because, you know, we just didn't really know. Trump wasn't really vetted. But anyway, okay, so you sent me your own X post on this.
Gotta promote it. Gotta promote it.
But you don't have to promote mine.
Everybody knows yours.
All right. Hold on.
I got a measly 140 followers. Come on.
All right, everybody, jump on Jason's X if you're on X, follow him on X. All right, our state needs to stop with the Amber Rose meltdown. We can be our worst enemy. Sometimes people change. It's a slow process. They eventually come around. Yeah, let's listen to her. Oh, you didn't post the video.
There's nothing.
Well, Jason, there's no reason to post this other than to promote
you.
I take it back. Don't follow him.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Okay, you waste our time here. Okay, I wanted the video, or I wanted the Matt Walsh.
Yeah, let me find out Matt Walsh one. So go on and talk.
Anyway, so he comes out and he's like, oh, why do we have this woman talking at our convention who's basically a total slut bag and has had sex with rappers and stuff like that and has a face tattoo? Why do we have this woman? It's like it's the least Christian comment I've ever seen. You know what I mean? It's like anti-Christianity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's an entire parable about douchebags like this. There's a whole parable in the Bible about guys like this. And Christ says something very profound. He says, he who is without sin cast the first stone. Very famous line in the Bible, by the way. The Bible was a movie. We would call it a famous line. Wait, what would you call it? A famous verse from the Bible. A very, very famous verse. So it's a verse that a lot of people have memorized. I probably have. I'm paraphrasing it. I don't remember it exactly. But yeah, if it was a movie, it would be a movie quote. It's very famous, very popular line. Why is it popular? Because it expresses a profound truth, which is that we're all sinners. We're all none of us are perfect. And so if somebody is trying to be a good person, you do not point to that person and say, but you've done bad things in your life, therefore you cannot be redeemed. You're a bad person, right? They're trying to be a good person. Help them out. Welcome them. Be kind to them. This idea that Amber Rose comes out and she starts talking about all like, you know, how for a long time she was blind to the truth and now she's woken up and now she supports Trump and she's a big Trump person. That's fantastic. She's got a lot of fans. A lot of people like her. I welcome her into the party. This idea of we have to exclude her because she has got a past. A lot of people got a past, man. Like, not everybody's as perfect as you, Walsh, you dick. Anyway.
Yeah, it's sad because I really liked him, like, you know, but lately I like his documentary, what is a woman, you know, it was amazing, but man, like how can you be, we're our worst enemies, like I said. I sent you I sent you something, so if you want to. Yeah. So this is his basically the tweet that's getting people pissed off. He's written, Trump has just reached mythic status by defying death and surviving an assassination attempt, and the GOP decides the best next move is to have him sit and listen to a porn star talk about diversity. Brilliant move. Thanks, guys. All right, now let's listen to her speech, though, because I think her speech was fantastic.
I realize Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong.
Actually, her whole speech is actually better. If you listen to more of it, it's actually better.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, okay, I understand the religious point, and I agree with that. Conservatives, we have a lot of religious people, but conservatism isn't necessarily about that. You know what I mean? Conservatism is mainly more about like government, like, and small government and keeping everything in check, and
well, no, I mean, there is conservatism does have
responsibility. Yeah, but it tends to go towards a more moral side. Like, of course, we believe in like the sanctity of marriage, and most of us believe in a God, But I mean, sometimes you have to accept them. They'll come. It's like when you come to Christ, it's like you're not automatically going to be free of sin. It's a process. And we have to allow that to happen.
Yeah, and you're not going to engender goodwill for the Christian faith by saying, if you're not a perfect person, I don't want you in my club. That was never really. I mean, if you know even the most fundamental things about the teachings of Christ, right? Christ never went out and said, "Okay, we're going to start a religion. It's called Christianity, right? And we're only going to accept the most pure, perfect people."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's literally the opposite of Christianity. Well, let's listen to a little bit of her speech here, because I thought it was really good.
My name is Amber Rose. I'm a model and entrepreneur. Thank you. But most importantly, I'm a mother. My whole world revolves around providing for my children, keeping them safe, and giving them an opportunity for a better life. That's something that unites all American parents, whether we're Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, or liberals. We all want a better country for our children. But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician, and I don't want to be, but I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies, so I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse, and I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. People have to do their research. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong.
I just love that. How could you not love that?
Yeah.
How could you not love that? Look, because she represents a lot of people out there who are moving to our party. We need people like her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and she's a kind of a famous one, so that's why she's speaking there. But she represents a lot of people.
And nobody's saying she's a leader or a main person of the Republican Party. Nobody's saying that. She's just somebody that woke up and realized,
exactly.
the lies, and we need people to
that's
speak
such a
on that.
compelling story.
Yes.
Did Bob Newhart die? Apparently, Bob Newhart died. According to
he did.
Morrison.
Yep.
All right, thanks for bringing that to our attention. That's quite sad. Yeah, Bob Newhart was quite cool.
Rob
Certainly a
Newhart,
legend.
Lou Dobbs.
Oh, did Lou Dobbs die?
Yep.
Oh, that's a shame as well. I just woke up, guys. It's like what is it? It's like 8 almost 8 o'clock here. 7:45 in the morning for me. But yeah, no, it's look, we she's a very powerful speaker in the sense, not because of like, she's a good speaker, or she's a politician, or she's slick or anything like that. Her story is compelling. You want speakers like that. You want people like that. Even if she wasn't famous, I would want her to speak, or somebody who has had a similar experience to come speak at that convention. The fact that she's famous helps, that obviously, like in terms of like logistics, getting more people to come across to the Republican side. That's a smart strategy. I guess the logistics isn't the word. It's a strategy or tactics. You want to bring in somebody with followers. You want to bring somebody with influence. But at the end of the day, she's not compelling necessarily just because she's got influence and she's become a Trump supporter. She's compelling because she's got that story of, look, it's not about Trump being, the most amazing president, in history or whatever. Some people really think that, I think he's pretty damn close, if not, truly is. But it's about the fact that people have been lied to for so long about Trump. People have been lied to so long about conservatives generally. I think what she said about she believed that Trump was a racist for so long, I think that will resonate with so many people. And her father kept telling her, prove it. And so she did her research and she realized, oh, actually, Trump's awesome. That whole story to me is like perfect. It's just perfect. Why is somebody on our side supposedly going on and being like, we don't want you, tattoo face, go away. Like what kind of an a-hole? And I think that maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe it was just like a compulsive reaction, and he's just like he's just kind of like sticking to it instead of coming out and going, you guys are right. Actually, she's great.
She speaks from the breast. I mean the heart. No, but seriously, like people need to our side needs to wake up. We need to shift the culture, make a culture change. We need to fight back the way they fight against us. And like I said, people change. It's a slow process, but they will eventually. She will. Who knows what she'll become? Like a super conservative. Get rid of that
kind of
tattoo on the forehead.
She did. There's a guy that I actually have met. This guy. He's a rapper. I forget his name. Like, oh golly, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like Affogato Flow or something like that. Affogato, by the way, is a delicious coffee / dessert, which I never had until just the other day because Sebastian Gorka forced me to get one. It was like, oh, they got this Affogato dessert / coffee drink, and then I texted my buddy Kurt about it, and he was like, "It's a dessert, it's not a drink." And I think it was, he got into one of his like pedantic rants, and he kept going. And I'm like, well, I've looked it up, and apparently some people in Italy consider it a drink. Some people consider it a dessert. So whatever, dude. I don't really care. I don't know why you're getting upset about this. But anyway, this rap star on the conservative side, who I met at CPAC a couple years back, great guy actually. We got some pictures together. He's a really cool guy. He did a video, like a music video with Amber Rose, which I think went viral recently. All about, being, Trump's awesome and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, you should check that out if you can find it. We should probably, if we play it, we'll probably get like a copyright strike or something like that. But it wasn't bad. But anyway, that was a big controversy recently. And I was on I like Amber Rose side. And not everybody agreed with me. People have their opinions, and feel free to disagree about this. If you don't think Amber Rose is a good role model for little girls or something, we shouldn't have her at the convention. I kind of understand that point.
According to X, I don't know if that's a good standard to go by, but I think the percentages supports Amber. So yeah,
a lot of people. I got a lot of support, mostly support on my X comments, but I got some pushback. I got a little pushback. Some people support Matt Walsh. I think some people just support Matt Walsh because they just like him.
But he had to reply and keep like defending his stance. Like, so you can see there was a kind of a
Right.
backlash to that. It was stupid. It was stupid. Why do that at this moment? You know why? Like there's no
Yeah,
there's no need for
personally,
that right now.
Personally, I don't understand it, but you know, different people have different ideas what's important to them.
Right.
Um,
I still like the dude. I still listen to him, but you know, people make mistakes, or people have their opinions. People have their right to their opinions. So,
should we play Joe Biden talking about the black man that he hired?
yes,
It's pretty funny, guys. All right, so apparently, again with this damn Nick Nolte thing, whoever you are, dude, stop putting your name at the beginning of your headlines. Like what kind of a narcissistic a-hole puts his name at the beginning of every headline? Seriously, what is your problem? All right, so he was in this he's calling a high-stakes interview.
I'm saying I think he was in Hollywood, so maybe that's the reason. You know, Hollywood people.
Was he in Hollywood? Was he a Hollywood?
I think so. I read that. I'm not 100%
John
sure.
Nolte. Yeah, I don't know.
It's all about treating people with dignity, and it's about making sure that, look, I mean, for example, look at the heat I'm getting because I named the Secretary of Defense, the black man. I named Ketanji Brown. I mean, because of the people I've named.
Okay, first of all, what pushback? What heat is he getting, or whatever he said? I don't remember what he said, but he said something about getting pushback or heat or something for hiring black people. What year does he think this is? like what the hell is he talking about? Does he really think that Ketanji Brown Jackson, people didn't want her on the Supreme Court because she's black? That's what he thinks. That's what he's trying to present here. Like, not even black people who are like broke in the hood believe what he's saying right now. Like the most poor, like down on their luck, unfortunate black family is watching this going, the hell is he talking about? Like, you think people are discriminating against people in the federal government because they're black? You idiot. I mean, okay, just look at Dr. Ben Carson, right? Or who was that pizza guy that almost got, like, for a little bit there was this like window where we thought he was going to get elected president. The 999 guy, you know what I'm talking about? He owned all the pizza shops. How do you not know about this? Oh my God!
I'm trying to think now.
Jason, maybe this was before your time. Somebody will write it in the comment section. Anyway, we've had all kinds of black people on the Republican side. You think we're pushing back because we don't like black people in America? We don't like Ketanji Brown Jackson. We don't like who is it? Lloyd Austin is who he's talking about, I think. And nobody cares about that. Why is he like the guy is so old and messed up? He doesn't even.
He's targeting he's targeting the one people that would believe him. The black females here.
Right.
And the the white leftist liberal women.
Right. It was probably Herman Cain. Herman Cain was the guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he passed away.
Herman Cain. Godfather Pizza, I think it was, right? Yeah. That guy was kind of like a legend, right? I mean, he that was a real splash in the pan, you know. What do you call it? Like, yeah, splash in the pan. Is that what they call it? Did I just like butcher a saying? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Flash in the pan? Flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan. I think that's
yeah, that's what yeah. Anyway, point is he made a big impact on the conservative side, right? And like one of my favorite conservative philosophers is also black.
Yep.
There's so many
Thomas Sowell. Sowell, right? That's
Thomas Sowell. Yeah, Thomas Sowell.
Yeah.
There are so many great, I mean, even Candace Owens, even though she's a little bit more controversial these days, she was a very important figure in the modern conservative movement. Like, where is Joe Biden's brain? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like this is because he's old or if it's just this is because honestly, I could imagine him saying this with his brain not completely gone. You know, I could imagine them saying this 10
that's
years ago.
their talking points. That's what
Right.
they're used to saying. That's what they have to say. You know, like the whole racism thing is ridiculous. Like, just it's just ridiculous, man. There's no point in that because obviously everybody knows there's no such thing as racism or systemic racism.
At least with white people in America, there isn't. Black people are more racist in America. And you know why black people are more racist in America? Because Democrats keep insisting that black people are oppressed and white people are evil slave owners. That's all black people hear growing up. Of course they're going to be racist. You know, we got to fix it. You know, when I sometimes talk about this on the show, we talked about this, I think, last week or the week before, or last episode of the episode before, about how there's like a major problem in America with black culture. There's a major problem in America with black crime. There's a major problem. There's a lot of problems in America that I think need to be addressed with regard to black culture. And yes, partly because it affects Americans who are not part of that culture, but I think even more so because it affects people who are part of that culture. Like, if you tell a black kid that he shouldn't be learning, he shouldn't be educating himself, he shouldn't be reading books, he shouldn't be speaking well, like learning how to speak well, are you going to be giving him an advantage in life? No, you're going to be destroying that kid's life. So there's a lot of problems with black culture that we bring up on the show, but we're not bringing it up because we hate black people, quote unquote. We're trying to improve the quality of life of all Americans. In fact, the Vivek Ramaswamy speech, did you see the Vivek Ramaswamy speech?
No.
I'm trying to get your attention, looking off into the distance, and I'm a little bit concerned that you're not listening to anything I'm saying.
I answered, right?
Yeah, you just. Yeah. I was using a little.
I got you.
I
got you. He's just trying to see if I'm paying attention because I often have my ADD attacks. You know.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, anyway, look. Ramaswamy said something absolutely brilliant. In his, you're gonna need to watch that speech. It's a great speech. Now I forgot what he said because I was paying attention to trying to get you to pay attention. What the hell was it talking about?
Vivek Ramaswamy, his speech.
No, but before that, what was I saying?
The whole race issue.
The whole race issue. Yeah. Republicans are racist. Blah 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 blah. That's the only position that they have anymore.
Chris got a brain. Mr. Reagan got a brain freeze here. Hold on.
It's because I was trying to get you. I was trying to get you to pay attention. I don't know why you're looking to the left all the time.
This is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen.
No, this doesn't happen usually. Usually I keep on track, but I don't know. I lost it. I'm having a Biden moment. I'll get back to it.
Yeah, just say, look, Chris, just say anyway, and it solves everything. Okay.
Is that a Biden thing? Yeah.
That's a Biden. Anything.
So Ramaswamy
anyway.
So Ramaswamy was saying in his speech the other day. Anyway, let's check out the next story, Jason.
You want to go? Let's do, because we don't want to talk about the Biden until the end. So let's go with
Hollywood mega donor,
because we're going to talk about that at the end. Him trying to get out.
Hollywood mega donor. No, this is one we can talk about.
All right, go for it.
Well, because I got some stuff to say about this. So there's a Hollywood mega donor by the name of Tom Strickler, and he has threatened vulnerable Senate Democrats. They must publicly abandon Biden, or you won't get another dime. So he's not going to donate money to Democrats anymore. Again with the Heidi Klum thing. Gee, mini Christmas, so annoying. And then this weird egg thing with the avocado that somebody butchered. That one keeps popping up too. It's really annoying. Okay, all right. We got a text from Gorica here. I gotta check this. Okay. I thought I was. What are you talking about? I thought I was already on tomorrow. I don't know what's going on. You got to explain. All right. Prominent Hollywood mega donor is putting screws to the vulnerable Senate Democrats by pressuring them to publicly abandon Joe Biden. Says he won't give them another dime unless they call on the president to quit his bid for re-election. Now, here's the thing. So this guy co-founded Hollywood talent agency WME. I think they actually should have put William Morris Agency. which is now part of Endeavor, right? Because the E part of WME is Endeavor, William Morris Endeavor, right? These people obviously don't know anything about Hollywood. All right. So, but by the way, William Morris and now William Morris Endeavor was and is one of the biggest agencies in Hollywood. And people don't really understand talent agencies or talent management companies in Hollywood. These people essentially control Hollywood. I mean, these people have so much power over Hollywood. It's beyond what you could possibly imagine. Like, yes, the major producers, yes, some of the bigger, more important sort of legendary figures in Hollywood, like Spielberg and stuff, they have a lot of power. But these agencies have, I would say, as much or more power than a lot of the people that you've heard of in Hollywood, but you've never heard of them, right? You know what I mean? So like a lot of these major agents, like this guy, Tom Strickler, he probably has a lot more power than you could imagine in Hollywood, but you don't know his name, right? He's sort of behind the scenes making stuff happen.
But everybody in Hollywood, in the industry, knows his name.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. All right. So anyway, but what's crazy about that is, like, I don't really understand why you would say I don't, like, it's that important to him that Biden steps down, because at the end of the day, we'll get into the thinking about the Joe Biden stepping down stuff in a minute, but I don't get why this is so important. I don't get it. You really love Democrats that much. You want them to win. You hate Trump so much. Like, the Trump derangement syndrome is like mental to me.
Yep.
And this is what I was trying to say about the. I didn't actually get this out when we were talking about the Joy Reid video, but I've never really understood why people like Joy Reid go so mental, like TDS. And I think that it has to do with, this has been my theory for a long time. There's a lot of people in DC that have skeletons in their closet, right? There's a lot of people in DC that have done bad things in their life. And I believe that the FBI has files on these people, and they have the dirt collected on these people, and they've not prosecuted these people because they know that they can leverage them using that dirt, the blackmail, essentially. Now, if someone were to go into Washington from the outside, say, I don't know, Donald Trump, nobody has dirt on him. He cannot be controlled. He's not been bribed. And he was to bring in a team to go look through the FBI files on, say, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi. You might find some stuff that could get Nancy Pelosi in prison. You might find some stuff that could get Joe Biden in prison. Now, maybe Trump has control over these people. Or, I think more ideally, these people just go to prison, right? We get rid of all the corrupt players in Washington, D.C., just send them all to prison. And I think they all realize that that whole house of cards could crumble if Donald Trump gets into office again. And this is why they're so desperate to keep him out. But it seems like an inevitability at this point that Donald Trump will get in. So I think that when that happens, you get these moments of desperation, like Joy Reid sitting there saying, oh, actually, maybe Trump wasn't actually shot. Maybe it was just this. Maybe it was staged. Or maybe glass just hit him from the teleprompter. I don't know why he's wearing that big bandage like a big baby. I mean, just some assassin almost shot his head off. Oh, big deal. Like, what kind of a cruel, evil harpy tries to pretend that it's not a big deal that somebody came a millimeter away from killing Donald Trump? It was like a split second. It was like I don't know if you've seen that video, but like there's a bunch of them indicating that Trump's head turned just at the moment before, it was on target to hit him in the head, the bullet. And he turned his head like that and just barely missed him, just like a split second before.
Yeah.
So Trump saved his own life just by turning his head,
He shouldn't be here. It's crazy.
A lot of people consider this to be a miracle, right?
Yeah.
A real miracle. And maybe it was because this could have saved our country, because we all basically believe Trump's going to win now.
You know, these people, what gets me about these people? Like, if this was like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, let's say 60 years ago, and this happened to a president, and then all these people were saying these things, especially people on TV, news people, there'd be like an outcry. There'd be like all these people would be out of jobs.
Yeah.
They would be called un-American, you know, and now it's just they've become so comfortable with their craziness that they can just
disgusting.
say these things. Yeah, it's wild. I find it really wild. It's.
I will say one thing about the criticism of Trump. There was this guy from Tenacious D. I forget his name, but he's not Jack Black, but the other guy. You know, there's two guys in that band. They're like a kind of a comedy band, right? It's basically successful based on the fame of Jack Black. That's the only reason that it's successful.
No, they had a show on HBO called Tenacious D. It was awesome. I used to love that show. I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah. Jack Black's a funny guy. He really is a funny guy. And his buddy that is involved in the Tenacious D project, they were at a concert, I think, in Australia. And this guy said something about he had a birthday, and his wish was that the next shooter was a better shot or something like that, right? Which is kind of a joke, obviously. And but here's the thing about that. Like, people have called, like, I think that this tour was canceled and he was dropped by his agent and all this, which I think was a little bit maybe of an overreaction, because eventually the guy did apologize. Jack Black said, look, you know, that hit me by surprise, even though he laughed in the moment and all that. And people were disgusted by it and people were horrified by it. But there's two things about that I don't really care that much about that. Because for the first thing is, I don't really care about jokes. If you're going to make a joke, the reason you make a joke is to make people laugh. That's the only reason you make a joke, in my view. And I don't know what this guy's intention was, but I kind of give jokes a bit of a pass, typically. Secondly, you know, I just don't know. I just don't know how insidious that necessarily was, because Donald Trump did live, you know, so this is not like a moment where, I mean, we have to be mourning the death of Donald Trump. We have to take it very, very seriously. He did live. So I think that gives you a little bit more leeway of making a joke. Okay. But on the other side, I will point out the other side, which is that for me anyway, I don't typically want to make jokes about people I hate unless I'm trying to make a point, right? Like, I'll make jokes about AOC or I'll make jokes about Nancy Pelosi. I really don't like these people, but I make jokes about them usually to make a political point. If I'm going to make jokes about somebody, like if they were almost killed Nancy Pelosi, I probably wouldn't joke about it because I don't like Nancy Pelosi, right? And however, I do think that I have license to make jokes about the Donald Trump assassination attempt because I love Donald Trump. Right? Everybody knows I love Donald Trump, right? I'm like one of Donald Trump's biggest supporters publicly. I have been since the beginning. So me making jokes about the Donald Trump assassination, everybody knows, everybody would hopefully, I assume, know that was done with love, you know? People don't know that about the Tenacious D guys, right? In fact, Jack Black was just at a fundraiser for Biden. So I think people will naturally assume, okay, that was a mean-spirited joke. So I think you have to be a little bit careful that you're going to be perceived as an a-hole if you make a joke about somebody you don't like getting assassinated just after they've just, you know, nearly been assassinated. So I understand both sides. Again, I'm not one to like want to cancel somebody for a joke, but then again, don't make jokes about people you hate right after they've just, you know, nearly been assassinated. Like, that's just in bad taste. It was a dumb thing that guy did. So, yeah, I don't really like that they're criticizing Trump for wearing the bandage. I don't really like that they're criticizing Trump and saying he didn't really get shot, or, you know, it was just a little bit of glass shrapnel. I don't like those criticisms. I think those kind of conspiracy theories are really, really sinister and ugly. And I think people like Joy Reid should be fired, actually. I think that they should actually cancel her. You know, obviously that's on MSNBC to decide that. But, like, to me, that kind of comment is disgusting. Jokes, not so much. I don't care about jokes as much. I know people do get upset about that, but I don't really. That's just my
I'm all
take.
for it.
I'm waiting for you to jump in, Jason.
I'm saying I'm all for it. I love it.
All right.
Cancel them all. Fire them. Cancel
them all.
They started the game, right? We're in the game, right? So we gotta play to win. So we were telling them, don't do this, but they were relentless. So hey, I'm all for it. I support it. Cancel them all.
Jason's suggesting that I use an ad blocker. I do use an ad blocker, actually. So I don't really know why I got so many annoying ads. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do we got next? I believe it's the jobless claim.
Yes. Jobless claims jumped to 243,000. Continuing claims rise to highest since 2021. So, bad news.
Right. Well, I mean, they keep talking about how amazing the economy is under Biden, which nobody believes. And everybody's been talking about how eventually there's going to be some problem, you know.
Yeah.
The number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits unexpectedly soared last week. Apparently there was a hurricane in Texas, which I didn't even hear about, which boosted the claims. But, you know, this is a concern.
That's such an excuse.
Well, but the thing is, like, there is a concern brewing that some people on the left actually want Trump to be elected because they suspect that soon the economy will crash. Either it will crash because it's been so horribly mismanaged, or it will be intentionally crashed. So a lot of people think is going to happen. Yep. They think that the economy is being set up right now for a crash, an intentional crash, and they want Donald Trump in office for that moment.
Yes.
A lot of people are saying that. Well, not a lot of people, but enough people that I've heard about that theory, and I don't necessarily think it's the worst theory I've ever heard. I don't put anything past these people. You know, I've often said that there's going to be some kind of an October surprise before the election. There's probably going to be something, if Trump does get elected, that they're going to use in order to claim that Trump was a disastrous president. I think that this economic crash could be it. Could potentially be it. Anyway, that's why I wanted to look at that story. Do you want to look at the J.D. Vance?
Hold on. I'm sending you some. It's pretty funny.
Oh, you want to look at something else? Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a good one.
All right. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm just going to post it, and we'll all look at it together. If it's not funny, you're in trouble. All right, let's see here. They're taking Joe Biden fishing. I do know what that reference is. I don't know if everybody's going to get that, but I believe that's from The Godfather Part 3.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Or 2. Or is it? I think it's 2. It's 2. It's with the brother. 2? Yeah, it's when they take the brother out.
The third one, no?
No, it's 2. Part 2.
And he goes out to execute this guy in the middle of the lake and drop his body. I think they dropped his body in the lake afterwards, right? Yeah, here we go. You know the saddest part about betrayal? It never comes from your enemy.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, this was pretty brutal part of that movie, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty funny. Yeah, good call. Good call, Elon Musk. I don't really like. I've never really liked the Godfather films as much as everyone else.
Oh,
they're obviously very well made films.
Can't believe you just said that.
No, yeah, don't like them. Don't like them. Never like them. I don't like mobster films generally, but
those films.
I really like Goodfellas.
I love them. Like the Godfather movies are just so good. And you know it's they take a lot from like historic events, so that's what I really like about it too. Yeah, the whole history of it, and all right, I guess you don't want to talk about.
No, I don't like them. I just said, all right. J.D. Vance at RNC. Career politicians like Joe Biden pillaged American towns like mine with free trade and endless wars. And that's why, here's the avocado and eggs and the Heidi Klum pictures again. This is why he's maybe a really good VP pick, because a lot of people in America can really relate to J.D. Vance. And we're talking about what they used to call blue dog Democrats. The concept of a blue dog Democrat was like basically like a steel worker, right, who was part of a union. And I think that the thinking is that this guy can relate to the union guys from these, maybe towns that, you know, where the steel mill closed, or, you know, traditionally coal miner families, or just hardworking Americans in any kind of a job that at some point voted Democrat because they were getting, you know, a better deal because they were in a union or something like that. Did they really 100% need JD Vance to get that vote? I don't know, but it looks at least a little bit like maybe that's why they brought him in. I can't help but to think, though, that Trump just brought in JD Vance because he liked him.
You can't say that last part again. I want to see if I heard this right.
I can't help but to think that the main reason that Trump brought in JD Vance is just because he liked him.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I don't see any. I don't see any. I don't see it changing. Like that pick, I didn't see it changing anything.
Is Trump on right now?
I've been keeping an eye on it. So
it just said the OG Trump is back. The president just walked into the arena. Look at his face.
No, but he's not on yet. He's not on yet. I'm watching it. I have it here on live.
All right. That sounds cool, though. I can't wait to see this. All right, let's get to you want to just go to the last story so that we can watch Trump here in a second?
Yes.
All right, so last story. The last story, basically, let me just sum it up this way. They're trying to call on Biden to step down. And it's not just, it's like all the Democrats, basically, like Nancy Pelosi and Obama and everybody. Oh, come on, this is funny. Protect your family from the government. Get the slope 1,000 today. I love that. I just love that. I think that's amazing.
I love
that. You shared that one. That was pretty good. But anyway, yeah. So, and this is the first time I'm going to say this. I've never believed that Joe Biden would step down until now. I'm starting to think that Joe Biden may step down soon because there's just so much pressure. And I want to play this Joe Scarborough story. I can't find it though. Hold on. Yeah,
Anthony says we have an hour and 44 minutes until Trump speaks. So.
Oh, is that right? He just walked into the arena. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right then. Well, we can go through the rest of them, but let me just go ahead and play this because to me it's important to get this out just because I have a particular interest in this. So let's talk about this Joe Scarborough thing here. This is what Joe Scarborough said about Joe dropping out. So Joe Scarborough, by the way, is like a close friend of the Bidens, which is why everybody thinks this is a big deal that he said this.
You know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing. This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out. Look at the events.
All right, this is not the full video. Hold on a second. I'm going to look it up.
We're seeing your screen.
It's okay. You can see what I searched for on YouTube. It's all politics. All right, let's have
Mika, the sobering message he got yesterday from congressional leaders and his biggest fundraiser was simple. We're losing, you're losing, and you're going to run out of money because the donors have left. So I don't know what those two or three in his inner circle are going to say to that. But the fact is they don't know more than Nancy Pelosi about polling. They don't know more about contributors than Jeffrey Katzenberg, who's dedicated a good chunk of, the last decade to helping elect Joe Biden. And when you hear from congressional losers, we're losing. Yeah. You're losing. Leaders. Yeah. And the donors have all abandoned you.
Congressional losers is right.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter what people are saying on the inside.
Like I said last hour, I believe deeply in President Joe Biden's ability to run this country. Yep. I also trust more than anybody I've ever met in politics Nancy Pelosi's political acumen. So when she speaks, I listen.
I thought the word was acumen. It's acumen? Not heard that before, but
a lot of other people do.
Well,
it.
That's what you put on your food.
okay.
On the Hill.
Let's bring in NBC News and MSNBC political analyst and former U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill. Claire, your thoughts this morning as the president works to recover from COVID.
He did it. And these are the things that Donald Trump's talking about taking apart, whether it's NATO, whether it's Taiwan, you can go down the list. And so fundraiser over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years is telling you the money's gone. The donors have all gone away. You know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president. Continues to drag out. Look at the events of yesterday. Mm-hmm. The events of the last 3 weeks.
All right, hold on. Here,
and at some point, you know, I can tell you, Mike, the anger that I hear is not at Joe Biden. The anger I hear are at the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race. That is the real anger. And let me tell you, that's not just the anger from inside Congress. That is anger from inside his own political camp.
Or
say that again.
Or that I hear is not at Joe Biden. The anger I hear are at the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race. That is the real anger. And let me tell you.
That's the part I wanted you guys to hear. People are keeping Joe Biden in who might have a financial interest in keeping him in the race. Now, this is why this is interesting. This is essentially what I've been saying for years now. Why is it that they keep putting up Joe Biden? Why did they put up Joe Biden in 2020? He was already in cognitive decline back then, right? Yes. It's because he was always, even before he was like completely gone, the perfect puppet. He's the perfect puppet. He's always been the perfect puppet because he was compromised with Ukraine. He was compromised with China. They had all this dirt on him. He was controllable. They could control him. The puppeteers could control him. And every time you get this new wave of people saying, we actually want Joe Biden to step down, I'm like, okay, another one of the puppeteers has turned against Joe Biden. They've realized they can't win. That's what I was thinking was happening. And Scarborough kind of let the cat out of the bag here. He probably shouldn't have said that because I think Scarborough's on the inside there. I think just Scarborough knows what's up. I think he knows there are people that control Joe Biden. And why do people want to control Joe Biden, right? Probably because they have a financial interest, right? They can dictate what happens on the executive level of government so that money can be funneled to the places they want it to be funneled, whether that be, whomever in Wall Street, billionaire cronies, whatever they have, the military industrial complex. There's all these different players that are involved here making money. It's what they call the deep state. This was the original concept of the deep state. The original concept, the deep state was named from an article that was written by a guy who basically said, look, there's all these people who have undue influence on Washington, D.C. And why do they have that influence? Because there's so much money that gets shifted here or there based on legislation that gets passed in D.C. and based on executive orders and all these kinds of things that you need to know what's going on in Washington in order to okay. All right, we'll work that out. I'm live right now. Sorry. All right. So planning the date for later. It's important. It's important, people. All right. So
interrupts our show for that.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be polite. All right. So I think that I think there's a lot of people who are compromised in DC who could potentially get into a lot of trouble if Trump gets into office. That's why they're desperate to keep Trump out. But I also think there's a lot of people that make a lot of money based on the fact that they control Joe Biden and they can keep him in office. And he's the only one. Like, look, Joe Biden keeps a lot of people out of prison, I think. And Joe Biden makes a lot of people a lot of money, I think. I don't have really like the evidence to support that claim, but that's what I believe, right? That's speculation, but I think that's pretty accurate speculation. So when Scarborough comes out and kind of like, I think that is a moment that not a lot of people realized, when he said that, because everybody's focusing on this idea that, oh, Scarborough is like turning on Biden, who's like his good friend. Well, I think the bigger story is Scarborough just let the cat out of the bag. I mean, I think most of us already kind of know this anyway, but to hear somebody like in his position say it, I think is very powerful. MMA Fix says, damn right, cancel them all. Also, my distributor just saw me on the show and dropped me. Your merch is going to be a little bit late.
Oh, man.
Big Lou 85 says, don't worry, guys. I have made it. You can officially start the show. Okay, we'll start the show now. Thank you, Big Lou, for jumping in finally. But yeah, so I love that. I mean, I love that Scarborough came out and said that, because I think he said what I've been saying for a long time on a speculative level. He's kind of reinforced that. So although I wouldn't consider this to be evidence or like, smoking gun evidence, it is evidence in a way. It's showing a guy who's close to Biden, showing a guy who, look, Scarborough used to be a Republican. That's the crazy thing. I think he technically is still a Republican. It's a rhino, of course, but
it's Republican.
I think technically he's registered as a Republican, but yeah, the guy is obviously like a total creep, hates Trump, never Trumper, no longer ascribes to conservative values at all. He's just basically like a hardline leftist.
He's in it for the payout. That's it. Like, he sold his soul.
That's the point. He sold. So he's a guy who I believe he knows what's up. He knows that people get bribed in DC. He knows that people get blackmailed in DC. And I believe very strongly that he's one of them. He's being bribed, he's being blackmailed, and he's in that group of people who are living that life. And so it's incumbent on him, as he likes to use that term, it's incumbent upon him to make sure that things are set up in such a way that he can keep the money flowing to him and he can keep himself out of prison in case there's something that might be, potentially damaging to him in that way. And he's got to keep other people out of prison too, because and I think that's how it works out there in DC for a lot of these guys. If you're guilty of stuff and you don't want to go to prison, maybe you got to protect some other guy, because if he goes down, you go down, that kind of thing. And some people are actually suggesting that Biden might have dirt on Barack Obama. And that's how Biden was able to sort of negotiate his way in DC, by blackmailing Barack Obama. Maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. I don't know. It's speculation. I don't really have any reason to believe that. I'd never thought of that myself. That seems like kind of like a total guess. But it is something that some people believe. It's a rumor. Rumors, you can take them with a grain of salt. Maybe they're true, maybe they're not. That's one I'm not necessarily prone to believe, but it may be true. We just don't know. That's the thing about all this. I would love a lot more transparency in Washington, D.C. I would love for a lot of, like, when Trump gets in there, he's got to bring in a team to just comb through FBI files. That's what I want to see happen.
Yeah, no,
Find as much dirt as he can on the major players: Schumer, Pelosi, Biden. Send them all to prison.
He needs to restructure the alphabet agencies too. Also, I think before he does that, because got to get all those insiders out.
I'm not saying develop a team of corrupt FBI agents. I'm saying bring in his own people from the outside, give them classified clearances, and have like Giuliani. So like it could be a team led by Giuliani. All right, guys, you got to comb through. This is crappy work, but this is what you got to do. Bring in a bunch of conservative law students and just have them. This will be their summer job. Look for dirt on Pelosi. Look for dirt. Like, figure out what the dirt is. find the honest FBI guys.
Fire everybody before they destroy.
They got to
everything.
fire everybody, but bring in some people, bring in some FBI guys who will actually rat these politicians out and say, "Oh yeah, I know where the evidence is. I can show you."
Hopefully, Trump's team is working on that, getting the people ready for that.
Yeah, but like you say, there may be a bonfire just before Trump gets in office.
Yeah.
Now being reported on NBC News, we have a bonfire, it seems, on the north lawn of the White House.
Exactly.
We don't really know why.
Yeah. Iran has just
Guy Fawkes night. Yeah.
Yeah. Iran has just planted a truck bomb right in the perfect area. You know, like nobody's hurt,
right,
but all the documents are gone.
Yeah. I don't know why they parked it in the archives building on a day that nobody was working there. Anyway, it's kind of a funny thing. So anyway, I don't know. Look, let's talk a little bit about Joe Biden's potential continuation or dropping out, because I've never believed that Joe Biden was going to drop out, because I've always believed that there was somebody in a position of power that we don't know the name of, at least one guy, if not multiple guys, who, like Scoroborough said, had an interest in keeping Joe Biden there, whether that be keeping out of prison or making a ton of money or whatever it might be, in a corrupt way, of course. Because how can you make money because Joe Biden's president? How could you have a financial interest in a particular guy being president? Corruption. That's the only possible explanation. Scoroborough just sort of casually expressed that there's somebody behind the scenes controlling what goes on and who becomes president, and that they have a financial interest in it. Casually expressed that like it was no big deal. So this is corruption, right? This is what we're talking about. This is corruption. But this is the first time I've really felt like, wow, Joe Biden might actually step down. Maybe even the guys that are supporting him in the background might be like, what's even the point of keeping Joe Biden in at this point? Because he can't win. He can't win. But then here's the second question I have about this, which is, so I'm curious what you think, if he's going to step down or not, Jason. But then also, I guess the next big question is, if he does step down, what the hell are they going to do? They bring in Gavin Newsom. They bring in Gretchen Whitmer. They try to make Kamala the next guy, like the next president. What the heck? Like, who can win against Trump at this point?
Nobody.
Like, I don't feel like anybody wants to run, because it's
no. Well, for me,
it's going up against the juggernaut that is Trump at this point. You know, you can't win.
Nobody can win. I think they just accepted the fact that if everything goes legit the way it should go, Trump is going to be the next president. But I think Biden's definitely going to step down. And I've said this for so long. They're just going to put everything on Biden. That's what they're going to do. All the blame, everything's going to go on Biden. All the mess ups, all the country getting destroyed, all the bad policies, they're going to throw it on Biden. And you know, if they don't do something crazy before the election or right after the election, they'll just wait for the 4 years, and then once the next election comes, they're going to say that wasn't us, that was Biden. He did all that terrible stuff, and we have a new party with new people. And
I actually think that you had this theory a long time ago, or I heard it from somewhere
years ago. I've been saying that like that's, it's
actually not.
I have to give credit to my wife, because my wife actually came up with that theory also. So and I was like, that's a great.
It's a good theory, actually. I like this theory, especially now. I feel like right now is the moment where that theory it plays out, right? Because this is at a point when I don't think anyone else can win, and so right now you need to have a sacrificial lamb, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that Newsom will do it. I don't think Newsom would do it.
No.
Maybe Whitmer would, because she's kind of dumb, so she might do it.
Oh, but there's going to be some desperate person that's going to do it. That's going to say, "Yeah, I'll go for it." Like
I would
Nikki
guess
Haley.
It's gonna be
Nikki Haley was a desperate one that went on the Rhino side and went against Trump.
There's
always going to be some idiot.
Can we never mention that woman's name? All right, so I know she was at the convention and people like trying to welcome her back, but I'm not
No,
interested
thank
in
you.
that. Yeah, no, thank you. You showed your true colors, woman. So
Yeah.
no, I think it'll probably be, now that we've discussed it in this way, I think it'll either be they'll stick with Biden and they'll just be like, oh, it wasn't our fault that Biden lost. It's, Biden had dementia. I think it's actually better to come out with Biden does have dementia like really late in the campaign and then try to get those sympathy points, not necessarily for Biden, but just for the party in general. Like we stuck by our guy, even though he had dementia and all this. Either it'll be Biden or it'll be Kamala or it'll be Whitmer, because I don't think anyone really cares about any of those people. And watching any of them get slaughtered will not be a problem in terms of like the, yeah.
You know what would be funny is if they put Hillary in it for how many times to fail again. Be like, hey, let's give Hillary another chance. She ain't gonna do it. She ain't gonna win.
That would be brutal because she would do it too.
Yeah, exactly.
They could convince her very easy. They're like, you're the only hope that we have. She's like, yes, I am the only hope that you have.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. I wish they would do that. But yeah, I just think because look, the assassination attempt failed. That was like that was like the last good outcome that could get. I mean, it wouldn't have been a good outcome because I think the nation would have went crazy. But in their head, that would have been the best outcome for them right now. Yeah.
Oh, that was the only option they had.
Yeah. So now,
Jason. Well, okay. The only other option is if there's an actual assassination of Joe Biden. Oh, I don't even mention that because I'm giving him ideas, but that's not something we're advocating, by the way.
Well, there's been talk like they might just try that. These evil people just might try to like get rid of Biden that way too.
Well, because you would have a lot more sympathy whoever's next. Yeah.
No, and you can blame conservatives. Yeah, you can blame conservatives. You can blame MAGA. Look what they did. So that's an option out there. But I think hopefully it goes away where they replace him, which I think they're going to do. They're going to come. You can't have.
All right.
He cannot keep running
at the end of the show. President. At the end of the show, I want to ask you a question, Jason, because I'm a little bit afraid of the answer, but I want to get your black-pilled, like nihilistic answer. So, do you think that this was a lone gunman, crazy guy scenario, or I won't ask you the details, or do you think there was a broader plan in place by other people as well? Do you think others were involved? I guess is the question.
I think there was right now, from all the news I'm seeing, I think there was some planning in it.
It's suspicious, isn't it?
Yes.
Like I don't want it. Like I feel like it's my job. Like, we always talk about how I'm the optimist here and all that kind of stuff. A lot of the reason why I don't jump onto certain conspiracy theories and certain ideas isn't necessarily because I think they're completely outlandish. It's because I feel like I do have a responsibility to try to at least try to tell the people that are listening to my show the truth. Like, to me, that's incredibly important. I know that, all journalists have said that since the dawn of time, but we know that's obviously bullcrap for the most part nowadays. But for me, it's very, very true. Like, to me, I would never have a show unless I felt like I was at least trying to impart the truth to my audience. I do try to tell you guys the truth as much as I can find it. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm speculating about things that aren't quite right or whatever, but I'm trying to get the truth out there. The speculation, the provocative ideas, it's all just to get us talking and thinking and try to get us to the truth. That's what I'm always trying to do. With this particular thing, I don't really have any good reason to believe any of the conspiracy stuff that is being put out there. Like the Secret Service shooters that were in the building were actually the ones doing the shooting. I don't really have any reason to believe any of that stuff.
Yeah.
However, the lapses in security from the Secret Service were so egregious that, to me, it goes beyond incompetence. And Scott Adams said, if you don't think that this is a product of incompetence, you just don't understand how bad DEI is, which I thought was a good, an interesting take. And I think he's right. Like, I do think that it's plausible that they were so incompetent that it just led to this as a problem. but it seems unreasonably competent. It seems so incompetent.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that there wasn't that somebody wasn't aware of something. They knew so much about this shooter. That roof, the sloped roof, excuse. To me, that's the craziest thing for her to come out and go, "Oh, the reason we didn't have Secret Service agents on the roof is because there was a slope on it." It was the most shallow grade of slope ever, and then there was shooters on the other roof with a much steeper grade of slope. And you're saying the reason we didn't have shooters out there because it's dangerous because there was a slope to the roof? F off.
Look,
that's the dumbest excuse ever.
The fact that they haven't fired that woman says a lot right there. I mean,
they don't fire anybody. They don't fire anybody.
But that tells you something. That tells you that their work. This is a whole system that's working together. To do whatever they're doing to this country. Because if they're not firing anybody for obvious things that people would in a normal job would get fired for, there's something up. And now I'm hearing stories of here's one of my theories. Because I was talking with my wife and I'm like, this kid, look, he was like, what, 12 when Trump first became president? Like, it's so there could always be somebody influencing this kid either through the internet, through messages, influencing him like in a way that, to work his mind towards going this way, And
have you noticed that there's a lot of stories, like especially since the Whitmer case, right? There was this Whitmer case where the FBI went to guys in Michigan and said, "Hey, we hate Whitmer, we love Trump. Why don't we start up a little bit of a club here and just talk about how much we hate hate Whitmer, and we love Trump and all this." And these guys were like, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, we'll hang out with you guys and talk about how much we love Trump and how much we hate Gretchen Whitmer." And then these were all FBI agents that were coming in and trying to talk to these guys, right? And then the FBI agents were like, "Oh, how about we get some bombs? Or how about we kidnap Gretchen Whitmer and all this?" And these guys were like, "What, are you crazy? No, we're not going to do that."
Yeah.
And they kept saying, "Yeah, but no, we got these guns and all this, and maybe you can help us with this and that." And the guys were like, "No, get real, And eventually they convinced the guys to help them with like a couple of things here or there. And the guys were like, "Yeah, okay, I'll help you with this or that." And they're like, "Aha! You plan to kidnap and kill Gretchen Whitmer." And the guys are like, "What are you talking about?" And they arrested them and they tried to convict them of these crimes. It was obvious entrapment. I think most of the guys were set free based on that alone.
Yeah, they were.
And then they got the same FBI guys to go be put in charge of the whole January 6th situation, right? So obviously that's one of the major bits of evidence to indicate that the January 6th thing was a PSYOP scam. But anyway, so we know that the FBI has been doing this a lot lately, where they come in and they go, and there was other instances as well. I don't remember, but I've reported on them, where the FBI is coming in, and it's like there was this other, that's right. I almost did a video on this. In fact, I wrote part of it, but there was this situation where there was this guy who was apparently out to start a race war. Did you hear about this? Like he killed some people out to start a race war or something, or he never killed anybody, but he was like planning on it or something. Well, it turns out that was an FBI PSYOP as well. That guy was essentially entrapped.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is fairly recent. So the FBI, we know, are engaged in this regularly, where they will go in and they will try to radicalize somebody, just in order to get a win, just to get an FBI win. So the concept, the possibility that the FBI was like grooming this kid to become some kind of a shooter or some kind of a radical to hate Donald Trump or whatever, political radical, so that they could then arrest him and say, "Look, we caught this guy before he could do anything really bad." I don't think that that's beyond the realm of possibilities. I think this guy could have been radicalized by the FBI so that they could get another win. But then they let him slip through their fingers, and he actually got a shot off on the president.
Well, I don't. The whole let him slip through their fingers. I don't know. Even the media has been grooming people.
Now we're going into
people.
the more cynical. Yeah.
Even the media has been grooming these crazy people to do something like this because they've been wanting something like this to happen.
That's the thing. Best case. Let me just jump in real quick. The bet. I know, but I want to elaborate on what you said. The best case scenario is what you said. Best case scenario is FBI didn't groom the guy. The Secret Service were just incompetent. That's the best case scenario. But even in the best case scenario, the kid was still radicalized by politicians in DC and the mainstream media, them saying that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, them saying that Trump is a fascist. That's for years and years and years and years and years. Best case scenario, they radicalize this kid through the media. But in every scenario, this kid was radicalized by the Trump hating left and the deep state. Anyway, go.
But with the things that are coming out, I wouldn't say evidence, but with the things that are coming out, it's obvious this is not incompetence. Like, I mean, it's
just too much. Right?
Just the fact that they left that rooftop like unprotected.
That's the
right
thing
there.
I keep coming to.
Yeah. That says it all right there. Like that's not incompetence. That's
like I
outright,
said in my last video, I don't know anything about how to protect the president. Like I'm not trained in that. I have no experience in that. And even I, as somebody who has like played a video game or two where you have to like, do something like this or watched a movie, about something like this, I would know, oh, why don't we get a guy up on that roof there? Like it's like the most fundamental basic thing that like a child would know to do. I think like a 10-year-old kid would know, oh, why don't we put a gunman on that roof to look out at the crowd?
But not only that, there's civilian video of the guy crawling on the roof. Like there was time to take this person out, like way
and they said
before.
that they noticed him before and he was suspicious and they were watching him and all this and like
there's actual video footage of him crawling on the roof. I mean that right there, I don't care if you're some innocent dude crawling on the roof. Hey, you do that, you're risking your life, it doesn't matter even if it was innocent. You're dealing with a president here, like that's suspicious. So you got to do something. And then there's reports where a cop actually saw the guy on the roof and he pointed a gun at him and he went back down because he was scared. Like, I don't know if those are true yet, but it's obvious. They've been waiting for something like this. They've been waiting for the opportunity. Who knows what they might have known that this crazy kid was planning on doing something now, and they left it open for him. They left it open for him to do whatever he wants to do. And they have plausible deniability is what you could say, because they just knew this kid was going to go crazy like that and do it. So, and putting the whole female detail on Trump that day, like come on, man, that's on purpose. Like that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Small girls
there's
protecting
two reports
a 6'3" president.
I heard there was a report that they actually increased the security for Trump. And then I also heard a report that they actually had like the B team on Trump that day for some reason. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at those articles. But let me read a couple super chats. The Omega Ranger says on Reddit, there was a huge meltdown over Biden having COVID. The comments were either he'll get long COVID or we're in a mass disabling event. The true mass disabling event is Reddit's lack of brain cells. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean, a mass disabling event. I don't even know what that means. He'll get long COVID. I don't even understand why that would even be a thing. I guess they're trying to give an excuse why Biden would step down or something like that. But
maybe
might be an excuse.
Chris, maybe he steps down before the election, and maybe Kamala becomes the first female president.
Well, that's I thought that's what we've been talking about the whole day.
I think not me. I was thinking he was going to go all the way to January 20, when the inauguration is.
Right.
I think they're going to. I thought they were going to talk
about.
I'm thinking they're going to replace him as a nominee. But
right. Yeah, I mean, there's two possibilities: either he steps down as a nominee or he steps down as president.
Yeah, I think
that's what when I mentioned the Kamala stuff earlier. I assumed that everybody understood that what I meant was he would actually step down as president. Kamala would take over, because if you step down, if you step down as the nominee, anyone could replace you. But if you step down as president, I think Kamala becomes the de facto nominee. So I think Kamala's people want him to step down as president so that she can step in. So
the problem I see with that though is that they can't, like, when 4 years pass, they can't blame the stuff on him because then she's president.
Well, no, I think that's such a brilliant theory. Congratulations to your wife for that brilliant analysis. I think that you're 100% right there. I think that he is the best candidate to keep in right now. So I'm gonna. But the thing is, I don't know. There's so much pressure now. Now, some people are suggesting that there might be a financial incentive, like people might just pay him off to leave. Like people are passionate about it. And if that happens, I think he probably would leave. The Omega Ranger jumps in. He says 6'3", 215 pounds, 45th, most likely the 47th. I like that. I think that's quite cool. And last but not least, we've got Big Lou 85 again. And he says, let's see if we can get a side story from Chris here. Chris, you probably don't remember, but I'm an OG Toxic watcher from the days with the ex, my ex-wife. He says, I'm your fellow former Detroit Lake camper. All right, story time. Story time, now go. All right, so I don't really remember. We must have discussed this before, but let me tell you, Detroit Lake was your sort of quintessential hangout spot for young families back in the day in Oregon. So especially in Salem, where I'm from. And I think we must have talked about this on the show back in the day. But yeah, Detroit Lake was a really cool place. Like if you watch a movie about teenagers playing in a lake in the 1980s, that was like Detroit Lake, right? I mean, it was like a cool place to go. I was too young. I wasn't a teenager, so I wasn't like cool. I was just like, I was there with my parents and my parents' friends and their kids and stuff like that. But yeah, we'd go camping every year out there or out somewhere in Oregon. And we used to go water skiing in Detroit Lake and stuff. Detroit Lake was the place to go. I think it all got burned down, though. There was these massive forest fires recently. But yeah, man, I miss those days. Those were good days. I always had this idea that I'd meet a girl out there. That you'd be like, out there, you meet some girl on a boat or something. That was always kind of
that's always on the mind of a young,
right, like a little kid
boy. Yeah,
but it never happened.
You're gonna have You're gonna have this movie moment of meeting a girl out there.
Yeah, it never happened. It never happened. I was so sad, But yeah, that was always like,
hey, Chris.
Go to Detroit. Yeah,
I just came up with some. Will they announce him dropping out when Trump speaks so that they could have get people's attention off the speech?
Or right after, so the news all shifts. Goes, oh, Trump's speech was what the hell? Like that.
Yep.
A big pivot. Yep. Oh, that's good. Did you just come up with that?
Yep, just came up with that.
And that's why he's the co-host, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, that's it for us. I think we're going to have to go because Trump's going to speak here in a minute. I don't want to miss it. So, yeah, it's pretty soon, right? When are we getting Trump on the stage? Yeah. All right. So, everybody.
Anthony said at 10, so I'm not sure. Okay. So.
All right. Well,
we're good, though.
So it's an hour from now. It's an hour and 10 minutes or something. All right. Well, I'll let you guys go just in case we won't want to miss anything. I do want to
Tucker's
watch
on. So.
Tucker. All right, you guys, go watch Tucker. Go rewatch Tucker. That's go watch the rerun. And listen, it's not that liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. All right. We'll see you guys on Monday. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news between now and then. So can't wait for it. Thanks again, everybody. Good night.